Yo, what's up, guys? It's Dom, and you're tuning in to Talks with Dom, where we touch on a series of topics that dives into the creator within. Over time, the goal is to help each and every one of you partaking in this transformation to better understand who and where you are on your journey. So let's chop it up, guys. So we on to point 7, right? What if you tried it anyway, right? Think about that question. What if you tried it anyways? Think about all the ideas that came to mind, right? Or something dope that you were just kind of like, damn, that'd be crazy, right? Like just something in your mind, like, yo, that might be too far to the left. That might be something that's way too far fetched. That might be something that's way further than my wingspan, right? But if we're thinking about the videos that we went over before, right? If it aligned with you, right? If it's something that came to your mind, if it's something that's been pressing onto you, it's probably yourself telling you, or the creative telling you that, yo, like, we need to try this. Like, yo, like, we're capable of doing this. Maybe this is something that we need to actually prep ourselves, right? To actually do and express, right? So one, the idea before the evidence. A creative can have an idea long before they have evidence that the idea can work, right? Ooh, that's always something that's going to be there, right? We're going to get random ideas, you know what I mean? That's sparked from different avenues of life, right? That's one of the strange things about imagination. It can introduce you to something before your reality has the receipts to support it. So when an idea feels far-fetched, don't immediately ask, can this actually happen? Ask, what about this idea is worth exploring? You don't need proof to explore a possibility, right? We don't need to close those doors to things that might seem out of our capability, and peep the word, that may seem, right? That may seem like, right? Nothing is never truly out of our span until we actually accept that and take that in, right? It may be things that we probably don't have enough money for, or maybe we don't have enough resources for, don't know enough people for. But that doesn't mean that that idea still can't happen in a way of what you are able to do, what you are able to get in contact with, right? The cash or the earnings that you do have, right? It's going on to number 2. The moment you usually dismiss it, right? Pay attention to the moments you tell yourself, that's probably not realistic. Like, how many times have you told yourself something like that when an idea came and you were just kind of like, yo, like that's kind of weird. Like, that's kind of, it's dope, but it's just kind of like, it's kind of out there, man. Like, I'm gonna pass on that one right now. Let's go to something that's more in the span, right? Because sometimes you're not rejecting the idea because it's bad. You're rejecting it because you don't know how to get there yet, right? Those are two completely different things. Not knowing how is not the same thing as knowing it can't be done, right? So not knowing how is not the same thing as knowing it can't be done, right? So being able to distinguish those two, like, just because you don't know how doesn't mean that it's something that it's something that can't happen. It's something that can be done, right? We just haven't prepped enough to be able to get that thing to work the way that we want it to work, or the way that we believe that it can work, right? Give yourself enough space to explore before you make the decision to abandon it, right? And we talked about times of rushing ourselves, right? Times of truly being able to let things come to our mind, let ideas come to our mind before we just go on with it, before we actually define it, before we consider what this thing is for us, right? We got to give our mind space, give our imagination space to explore, right? Before we just completely abandon the idea, right? So going to number 3, give the idea somewhere to go, right? An idea sitting in your head can only take you so far. Put something behind it. Write it down, sketch it, record it, build a rough version. Make the first attempt, even if it's terrible. Yo, like, thinking about this channel that I created and just kind of like just creating these videos, right? My fear behind doing this was one, just having people actually just seeing me, right? Not that anything is wrong with me, but just understanding, like just putting myself on camera and having people just see me, being able to go to YouTube and see me, right? And another thing was understanding how to speak better, right? Right. Understanding how to present better, right? Understanding how to get in front of you guys and truly be able to speak game to you guys. You know what I mean? Communicate about art, communicate about creating, right? So as we go and there's more points that's coming, right? As we're on this journey and stuff like that, you're going to see it as how I get better with this and continue to go, right? But starting from the first couple of videos, right? In my mind, I'm just like, dang, man, like I hope that these videos ain't bad. I hope these ain't just terrible. You know what I mean? So then that comes back to our point, right? Even if it's terrible, y'all, like just get started. Just take the step. Just do it, right? Because the moment that you create something from the idea, you change your relationship with it. You're no longer imagining what could exist. You're interacting with what you've started creating, right? So now you're interacting with it. Now you're actually putting it inside of your reality, right? And once it's there, it's something that actually can form and become what it's supposed to be, right? That's where discovery really begins, right? Going on to 4. Let reality talk back, right? Once you try, reality gives you information your imagination couldn't. Maybe the idea works, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you discover the idea was right, but your approach was wrong, right? Which is cool. That happens from time to time, right? Maybe you discover something completely different that was even better, right? And that happens maybe 7% of it, 7 times out of 10. That usually happens where you go through the thing and we're just like, dang, I actually could have did it like this. That would have made it that much more efficient, or that would have made it that much better, right? So that's why the goal isn't to make reality obey your imagination. The goal is to let reality respond to it, right? Every attempt gives the creative information they can use for the next attempt, right? So continuing to shoot those shots, continue to put in those reps, continue to do the thing that you know that you're supposed to be doing, even if it just seems like something that's out of the way, something that's out of reach, something that's out of your capability, right? Trying the thing, because sometimes it's never what we think it is, right? It's never as terrible as we think it is, and it's never that much out of reach, right? We're in a time where there's a lot of resources that we could tend to for free. You know what I mean? A lot of people that we can bump into just through social media. So, man, it's a lot of things that truly aren't as out of reach or as far fetched as we think, right? So, going to 5, the idea changes you too, right? And here's the part we don't always consider. Sometimes you start creating something because you want to see if the idea can become real. And you end up discovering who you had to become to create it. I remember back in on topic 1, right, when we were talking about, I think it was something about like the identity shift or something like that, or something in that lane. I forget what the title was, but basically just talking about how you had to truly understand like what it was like for a purpose. You had to truly understand who you had to become, and not just truly understand, but you had to just think in mind of the process of what it truly took to become what you were actually hearing, or what you were trying to figure out that purpose was for you, right? And it's just more of like, once you start to take those steps, you start to really see, oh, this is truly what it takes to become that, right? To be on this level, from this level down here, it's going to take boom, 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 boom. This is what I have to do, right? So being able to realize that, you're like, oh, This is what it is. So then now that comes to the ideas that we're putting out, that we're creating, right? Once we start these things, once we start to create, we actually start to see what it truly takes to create something doper than what we've created the last time. Like, oh, bet it up. So the last time I did this time I'm gonna need this, and that. I'm gonna piece that together, and then now let's see how this is, right? Because now you're actually starting to piece together that picture to what that creation could actually be, right? And what that thing is actually doing to you, right? You're discovering what that thing is truly pulling out of you to become, right? You discover your patience, right? Discipline, imagination, weaknesses, strengths, your ability to keep going when the original vision changes, right? It's definitely dope, right? So make the question. So maybe the question was never, can I make this idea real? Maybe it was, who will I discover myself to be if I actually try, right? You don't have to believe every idea will work. You just have to be willing to find out, right? Be willing to take that step. Be willing to go through that door. Be willing to discover the things that you don't truly have all the answers for, right? Be willing to sit with these things. Be in acceptance of the ideas that come to mind, right? Be willing to take the risk of what it truly takes to create that thing, right? And develop with it, right? On a day to day. But until the next one, though, guys,